3 big reasons why men don't approach women anymore. You see a hot girl walking down the street, your heart starts beating out of your chest, you overthink it, and she walks by. This approach anxiety is designed to protect you out of fear of getting rejected, okay? It's a normal thing. Some guys may think, am I gonna be perceived as being a creep? Maybe word will get out that you went and approached a girl at work, you got rejected, and it didn't go so hot. Women talk. They don't want anything to do with women anymore. They've thrown in the towel, they're done trying to figure out women, done playing the game. They just think, I have to be really jacked, or I have to make a lot of money, or else there's no point in even trying.
Women are starting to ask the question, why don't men approach anymore? What? Why don't men approach anymore? Because you become unapproachable. You become so entitled, so rude, so you think you're better than men. You think a man needs to come out and prove something to you when it's you that needs to be proving to him that you're wife ready. Men aren't going to go out and approach you just to get shot down and get laughed at, because this is the environment. Men are cost benefit calculators, and far too many modern men are starting to say the juice just isn't worth the squeeze.
Accountability and women are often seen as unrelated concepts. However, if they are connected, it is usually when women face challenges or reach a certain age where men lose interest. Some women may have had a good upbringing, but the reality is that many believe their beauty alone is enough to attract and keep a man. However, the truth is that beauty fades over time, just like patience. While men may initially listen to a woman's stories in the hopes of intimacy, they eventually realize it's not worth it if she complicates things. Men's lives are already complex, so additional problems are undesirable. Despite men being perceived as simple, women often make things more complicated, making it difficult to find a partner who embodies the qualities of a princess. On the other hand, it is easier to come across women who exhibit negative behaviors, and they cast a negative influence on one's life and paint men as the villains. Men find themselves in a challenging position when it comes to leading and being dominant, while women prefer to follow and be submissive. Many women express their desire for a decisive man who plans dates and takes charge. They appreciate when a man sets the time and place for a date, as they often struggle with making decisions, such as choosing where to eat, for example. Women appreciate leadership in men. However, some women struggle with this concept, especially when it conflicts with feminism and the notion of being a strong and independent woman who doesn't need a man. Biologically, women may have an innate desire for men to take the lead. However, in today's society, many women want men to lead but are hesitant to follow. It may seem contradictory, but that's why some men choose to go their own way, focusing on their own business and not taking women seriously. The phrase, "what's wrong with men," is often heard among women in different situations, whether they are frustrated with others' behavior or attempting to understand broader societal issues. However, what's intriguing about this question is that it often exposes a common human bias, the tendency to notice and criticize the actions of others while neglecting self-reflection. Men, on the other hand, often confront their shortcomings, rectify their mistakes, and move forward. Society tends to judge a man without money as a broke bum and urges him to improve, whereas a woman without money is more readily tolerated. Let's delve into the reasons why women may ask what's wrong with men, why they might overlook their own flaws, and why self-reflection is often neglected until it's too late to find an ideal partner. Firstly, it is generally easier to identify flaws in others than to acknowledge them within ourselves. This is a natural inclination as human beings. We tend to compare ourselves to others and pass judgment on their behavior. When we witness someone doing something we perceive as wrong, it's effortless to point fingers and question what's wrong with that person. However, it's important to note that those who criticize are often guilty of wrongdoing themselves. For instance, if a woman consistently chooses to associate with bad boys who eventually ghost her after a one-night stand, it's not because these bad boys suddenly became commitment averse. Rather, it's because she made poor choices in selecting partners. It's crucial to recognize that not all men in our generation are flawed. Within the past year, I've witnessed 4 close friends endure traumatic experiences with relationships. The term situationship has seemingly allowed individuals, regardless of gender, to engage in intense scenarios without committing, ultimately leading to someone getting hurt in the process. Recently, I have observed that some of my friends have experienced situations where men commit to a serious relationship, but then abruptly end it after a few months. Surprisingly, in most cases, it is the man who pursued the woman initially but eventually decided to terminate the relationship. It is concerning to see that many of my close friends have been broken up with through text messages. It makes me wonder when committed relationships became so casual. It feels disheartening that people nowadays break up with someone so easily. It seems like the effort put into relationships has decreased significantly, and individuals end things over minor issues, using phrases like, "We're not a good fit." Breaking up with someone through a text is seen as acceptable, indicating low standards. It's quite embarrassing for those who engage in such behavior. However, it's worth noting that the person sharing these experiences doesn't seem to have a problem with her friends ending relationships over text. Perhaps those guys were actually undercover bad boys seeking a friends with benefits arrangement, and the girls failed to recognize it. Instead of reflecting on their own desires in a relationship, they move on to the next person, perpetuating a cycle without finding their ideal partner. Another reason why women may ask this question is their frustration with men's behavior. Some women express a desire for a nice, gentlemanly partner, but when a man embodies those qualities, he is deemed too boring, and these women revert back to men who have no intention of committing. It's no wonder that men are skeptical about dating unless women change their attitude and have a clear understanding of what they truly want. What is interesting about this question is that it often fails to recognize one's own flaws and biases. Women may criticize men's behavior without realizing that they might be contributing to the problem in some way. For instance, when frustrated with other drivers on the road, one might overlook their own reckless or aggressive driving habits. Similarly, if a woman desires a traditional man who provides and protects, she may need to consider traditional roles, such as cooking meals, and being obedient to a hard-working man. Unfortunately, some women may adopt provocative clothing, engage in provocative behavior, and expect to attract a traditional man. Social media presence can also reveal a lot about a person, and it is not uncommon for men to assess a woman's social media and draw conclusions based on that. This may include considering her body count or identifying whether she engages in explicit content on platforms like OnlyFans. The dynamics of attraction have changed over time, with modern men having to put in significantly more effort to meet the standards set by their grandfather's generation. In light of these challenges, it is understandable why men may choose to focus on their own pursuits rather than investing time and energy in relationships with women who blame or generalize men. Women's overlooking of their own flaws when asking the question, "What's wrong with men?" can be attributed to various factors. One reason is that it's easier for individuals to focus on the faults of others as a way to avoid facing their own shortcomings. Additionally, acknowledging one's own flaws can be challenging since it requires self-awareness and humility, qualities that not everyone possesses. Humility is indeed a difficult trait to have. Instead of recognizing their own mistakes, some modern women tend to blame men. However, it seems that these women overlook the importance of self-reflection in personal growth and development. Without reflecting on their own actions and beliefs, they may fall into harmful behavior patterns that affect both themselves and the nice guys they desire. Once faced with the consequences, it becomes clear that if women truly want others to be more self-aware, they must model that behavior themselves. This may involve being open about their flaws and mistakes, as well as demonstrating a willingness to learn and grow. However, it appears that they prefer justifying their mistakes and inadequacies. Overall, there is nothing inherently wrong with men. The issue lies in women selectively choosing their partners. It's important to remember that women are the gatekeepers of intimacy. Therefore, if they allow themselves to be involved with bad boys, it's no wonder that traditional men aren't pursuing them. Instead of blaming a minority of men who solely seek casual relationships, these women blame an entire gender. It is unfortunate that they choose to disregard this and stay strong.